Hello and welcome to the Studio Takeover. I am your mentor and host, Kat Ford Coates. And today we're switching things up a little bit. Instead of one long conversation with one photographer, I've invited some of my mentees to come in and ask specific questions. One of the things about mentoring specifically, and I don't know if this is like a creatives kind of perception issue, but oftentimes we get sort of stuck in the mire with, specific problems when we're kind of missing the mark or our systems aren't quite set up the way they need to be. So today it's really about just sort of addressing questions that photographers are having in real time in their businesses and see, how we can help. So thank you so much for being here, you guys. Welcome to the Studio Takeover. And John, I understand that we will be starting with you today, sir. Why don't you introduce yourself and tell us where people can find you?
Good morning. Hi, I am John Cook. I am from Real Epic Photos. I own and operate it. It's my portrait studio in my house over here in Loma Linda, California. And have been at this for probably 4 or 5 years now. Through the pandemic, it slowed things down, but I am ready to move forward this year and make things happen.
Fantastic. Well, what seems to be the challenge?
Getting bums on seats has been my biggest challenge for the portrait business. I used to do quite a bit with couples outdoors, on location, and I was good with that before, but I really want to focus in on my portrait and studio business, primarily because it's just getting too challenging to get out there. And I can't get enough clients at the right price point to do it out in the field. At least I can't.
Okay. And what are you currently doing to market?
Well, I'm not doing a great job of marketing. So that's probably my biggest problem. I did some Google ads and I really didn't get any traction. It was for branding. So I put that aside. So really, I'm focusing on just getting some portrait business with the right type of clients. I've gotten some clients, but just not the right ones.
Okay. Have you considered reaching out to the people that you photographed outdoors in the past?
I haven't really reached out to them except for sending them like, hey, it's me. How's it going? I haven't done any like direct marketing to them. And I don't really think that I guess I'm making the assumptions here, but I don't think they're the right client base for me right now. Just about the new pricing that I'm working on.
Mm-hmm. Well, and I love that you landed on one of my favorite words in this scenario, and that's assumption. We make a lot of assumptions about our customers, and especially when they were at a different price point. As we're building businesses and we realize we need to be sustainable, and the shoot and burn sort of methodology really is not in that sustainable space. But all of those people that spent $200, $300, $400, $500 with us, like, would be, aboard at our new price point or even offended that we would reach out, when in reality, some of my favorite clients are clients that have stuck with me since the beginning, when it was, $47 for 15 images of horribly produced work. And now they're with me in the studio today. Like, I photographed a family this weekend that I photographed their wedding, I think it was 9 years ago, and their wedding was $1,500, 12 hours of burpees, just like a nightmare. And well, their wedding wasn't the nightmare, but like the 12 hours, you can tell how much I love shooting weddings. And did a family session, and they're walking away with tons and tons of artwork and an album, and their twin boys are now 7, and like all of this. And it was a $1,500 wedding almost a decade ago. And now they've come back in. I've done some branding for them 5 or 6 years ago, and for one of their businesses, and now their family session today. So appreciating that your job is to communicate value. So it's not, I'm going to send them an email with a link to book with me. It's, I'm going to pick up the phone and invite them back in for a session. And if they're coming from that lower space of price point, I'm going to reduce their risk on this new pricing structure, right? By offering them a gift voucher to come in and experience it firsthand, be able to walk away with something. Now, how is your studio portfolio? Like, you know, transitioning from the outdoor kind of lifestyle space into the studio, is that something that needs to be worked on and expanded on? Or is it like ready to rock and roll? You have all the demographics showing that you want to show?
Now, it's not ready to rock and roll yet. I have a decent amount of like headshots, nothing really. I have a few portrait clients that have come in studio, not really enough to build something that I can be really happy with to show. Sure. So I did reach to, and I might have mentioned this before, out to a friend who's a plastic surgeon, and she was receptive on Monday when I reached out to her. She's like, yeah, that would be amazing. So I'm working on the voucher, but I don't really know exactly the next steps.
Okay, so a voucher is nothing more than an invitation, right? It reduces the risk for your customer financially and all of that, right? So you not having a portfolio of your studio work actually works in your favor as a reason to be calling all of these other previous clients. Like, hey, I know I haven't seen you in like 4 years, but I would love to invite you in for a session. I'm actually expanding my studio work and going to be specializing in studio. And I would love to work with you again. I'd love to offer you, you know, $1,000 voucher, which would include, right? And you're going to slow your pace way down. Like we do this beautiful process for our customers now. There's a design consultation where we discuss your vision and understand your aesthetic and what you're hoping to achieve with your imagery, and then professional hair and makeup for your session. I'm going to photograph you in 5 to 7 different looks following your shoot. We're actually going to look at everything right away so you can choose your favorites. And then I'll apply $500 from that session, from that gift voucher, toward whatever it is you'd like to order. Does that sound like something that is of interest to you? Right? Like right there, it's, oh, like all of this stuff. And they might just be like, you know what, John, thanks, but no thanks. But other people are going to be like, oh, really? Right? Because now they're going, this sounds like really kind of high dollar and not what I'm used to. And like opportunity is sort of exploding in their minds. But I would, very first thing is just make a spreadsheet of all of those previous clients that you've had and pick up the phone and call every single one of them.
Okay. I think that's a great plan. I haven't done that.
Awesome. Yeah. Like one rule of thumb, and this is for everyone listening, people who have spent money with you are more inclined to spend money with you again versus trying to find and run from the cold leads. Right? People who've never done business with you, let alone heard of you before. So reaching out to those people who have already invested with you, regardless of price point, knowing that they bet on you before, your likelihood of closing them again is much higher than trying to find new people and starting from scratch. And, you know, gift vouchers, we talk a lot about gift vouchers in both the Shine courses and Foundation to Freedom. In my studio, you know, I've been in business since 2012 and using this business model since 2015. We still use gift vouchers to this day. So those programs are available in our In the Studio mentoring program as well as on their own. So if you're interested at all, definitely check it out. We'd love to have you. And then Amanda, hello, my love.
So I had a client last week. She bought 50 images for $6,500. And then she messaged me yesterday wanting to talk. So we got on the phone and she, through the call, I realized she really just wanted to look at the images again to confirm her decision. She's like, I remember there were a lot, but is this like, do I really need that many? Like what? And I want to, the thing too is she wants to see the images. So how is she going to see 50 images? So, and then she wanted the wall art that she isn't getting yet. So I was trying to figure out a way to get her to do that. So maybe like a postponed payment plan, like order the wall art now and then start the payment plan for the prints like at a later time, like January, February. And then I offered her a box for the other 20 images since they wouldn't have a box. So I offered to give her that. And she really liked that, but she wants the wall art more. So I was thinking instead of the box, maybe I can give her like some frames for some of the prints.
Okay, let's start it one by one. So we have a customer who made a purchase with you. Did she make a deposit on that purchase?
Yes, $850.
Okay, so she made an $850 deposit on an order of 50 images. You got on the phone and you're confused at how to show her 50 of the 50 images that she purchased? Is that correct?
No, I like to incentivize her to keep the 50. And I've already given her the box. So I told her, well, if you get rid of images, then you lose the box. And she cares about it, but not enough.
So typically you're going to hop on a Zoom with her, if not sit with her in her living room with your selection that you made in Lightroom, right? It's in person only. I'm not sending you a gallery, correct?
Yes,
no galleries allowed. No galleries allowed. Say it again. No galleries allowed, right? But you're going to have this image selection with her and go through and just be open. Like, look, you made a deposit on this. Why don't we choose your favorites for the wall art, right? These are the 50 that you loved enough to want a box of or 2 boxes of. But let's choose the wall art. And I know it sounds like it's sort of like cart before the horse because you've already committed to the box, but I want to get you what you love, right? And get her to tell you like what is the artwork that it is that she wants, A, and B, depending on what that is, right? Is it a big collage that's going to turn into a $12,000 sale? Like, okay, then how about this? If you will commit to this, right? Based on whatever it is that she chooses, it needs to be more than she's already spent. So ideally, like that wall art order is going to be more than the $6,500 for the 50 image box. Okay. You then incentivize and say, look, if you'd like to go ahead and do that, I'm happy to apply the $850 deposit that you already made toward this wall art order. And I'll actually take that box of 50, right? And give you $1,000, $2,000, whatever, toward that box of 50. If she commits to that today, and you'd be happy to even give her a stay of a month on that payment plan so she can get through the holidays, because that's really probably what she's worried about is like, oh my God, I just committed to this thing and I've got Christmas coming up and then my credit card bills are going to come in from that. And like, oh my God, we're all going to die. Right. So then I'll give you, a 30-day stay on that payment plan. We'll go ahead and start that payment plan February 1st, right? Give you some room to breathe. We'll go ahead and get started on editing these images. And then I'll give you whatever that dollar amount is toward that box of 50, right? If we go ahead and just get that order taken care of. So the first piece that you even receive is artwork that you know that you are absolutely in love with. I don't want you to have anything that you aren't in love with.
Okay.
Right? Because the idea is whenever anybody kind of gives you pushback on, oh my God, that's so expensive. I can't believe I'm doing that. Or calling you after the fact, right? Oh my, I can't believe I just spent $6,500. Your goal is to now introduce them to something that is much more expensive. Because they're going to look at you and be like, I told you that was already too much. And then realize like all of this that I love, that I want, now what I spent is actually quite reasonable.
Yeah, because so far what she's been talking, it would be like a $12,000 or $15,000 order of what she wants for the wall art. So what do I do with that? If
that's what she wants, then let her buy it.
Okay, and then just try and get her to pay that in full. What if she wants that on a payment plan too?
If she wants it on a payment plan, then the entire order's on a payment plan now. Right. So I would get, 30 to 50% upfront as the deposit for this wall art, with the rest of the payments beginning in February. Does that make sense? Like, now it's not two separate orders. Now it's one giant order. Right. So you're going to apply, if it's a $12,000 sale for wall art, be generous, give her $2,000 toward that box of 50 to include it all in. Right. Like whatever the difference is between 50 and 30, right? Mm-hmm. Give her that difference. And okay, so now that's a $20,000 order. Like you're giving her basically 10% off, but you don't want to present it as a discount. Discounts are not, I'll give you 10% off today. It's, I'd be happy to apply $2,000 toward your order if you'd like to commit to the wall art and the box. And I'll actually include $2,000 toward that box. So you'd be paying for 30 images and receiving 50. Mm-hmm.
And for editing, I told her like, oh, I don't edit this until it's paid in full. And then my plan was to edit it right beforehand so that as soon as it was paid, I could be like, surprise.
Right.
It's all done.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was watching in the studio yesterday and realized you go ahead and start editing. So is there really like a big difference in between the two?
I mean, it really kind of depends on your calendar. Once I've got 50% from a customer, I know they're invested. So I will add that editing to my calendar, like once that payment plan, like once they're invested, right? A lot of people, and I have waited until the very last minute, but my goal is to always surprise my customers, to always excite them and make them super happy as often as possible, right? So now that's not to say that sometimes those digitals don't get done until the 2-week mark and delivered, but if I can get them earlier, right? Like I'm happy to do it. Sales like can be tricky when we get into this system and process of being in service to them. And sometimes when we get into these, 3 zeros, 4 zeros, 5 zeros on the end of that order, we're like, can't lose it, can't lose it, can't lose it. And we forget that, yes, we have to honor our businesses and uphold our boundaries. But at the same time, we also need to be in service and make sure that every client that leaves our studio is just elated that they came through. So thank you for sharing that with us. Amanda, where can people find you online?
Oh, I am Flaming Lily Studios. So I'm in Asheville, but I'm Flaming Lily Studios on Instagram and my website.
That is wonderful. Thank you so much. Lisa Advent.
When I'm networking a lot now. Okay. And I'm struggling with, people say, oh, that sounds really nice. And when I did the More for More, I told people about it and they were like, yeah, that's really nice. I'd send them some information and then nothing. Well, I can't do it now. I'll do it after Christmas.
Sure.
And I tell them, well, the offer's gone after Christmas. It ended December 6th. Mm-hmm. So, and then I have the lady that bought, well, she didn't buy them. She picked out 20 images and she's from networking too. And she's become a big cheerleader for me, but she hasn't made a deposit. Mm-hmm. And she keeps on saying, oh, I'm going to get those. And when you were talking to the other lady, I was like, okay. And I don't say anything because I'm worried about chasing. Mm-hmm. And I think that I might be at the point where like maybe I'm pushing it away because I'm not even saying, well, if you order them now and you were talking about a larger image, we can go ahead and get that.
Or you're wanting to make an offer to her, or you already have?
No, I did not. I just, okay. She talks about buying them. Oh, I'm going to get them after Christmas. And I just say, okay.
Well, guess what? Now you've just made it okay for her to wait until after Christmas. Right. So really like the proactive approach for that, like when a customer, ghosts on you at an image selection, they race out really quickly. We had a woman who came in on one of my associate photographer sessions and like sat down for the image selection. And then like 5 minutes later was like, I gotta go, and like bolted out the door. And we were all like, what is happening? Right. And she was just really nervous. And like, I don't want to make assumptions, but you know, it was probably along the lines of, I know I'm going to want way more than I can afford to have. Right. Mm-hmm. But the response is to like, send the email, right? And just, hey, loved photographing you. I know you wanted a couple of days to think about X, Y, and Z, but you always want to bring them back to why they did it in the first place. You know, and I know in your situation, like you see her at networking, she's been really great at championing you, but hasn't actually followed through to purchase anything. And so the conversation then is pick up the phone and call her. Thank you so much for your referrals. Like, I've loved talking to these other women. I appreciate you so much. And we haven't actually created a payment plan for you. And I know you said you wanted to come back to this after Christmas. But really, like, I should have archived, you know, and deleted anything not contracted a few weeks ago. But I've just been kind of trying to, you know, wait and see what's happening with the holidays. But to your benefit, that means I still have them. I'd love to either create a payment plan with you, right? We'll need to keep a card on file, and we can even start those payments in January, but I need a commitment from you because we don't keep anything that's not contracted. And then I can apply, you know, a $100 credit toward your order every time one of those referrals that you keep sending me books and pays for a shoot.
Okay.
Right. I want this to be win-win for both of us. And I know with the holidays, like everything is super crazy right now. But I'd love for you to have these so you can really use them in your branding and love them forever. What does that look like for you? Right? Like, you're showing up, you're being in service to her, you're giving her compassion and empathy for, look, it's the holidays. This is something you were not anticipating. But it can't be, I'll get back to it after the holidays. Like, no, you've got to set a boundary and put a deadline on it and then hold it. So if she doesn't make that payment by Jan 10 or whenever it is, right, then you get rid of them.
Okay. Yes. Now when I'm networking and people talk about, you know, I'm working on, and I will put it in the Studio Takeover group, but a plan for New Year, New You, to offer personal branding. Mm-hmm. And I thought that I'd offer it to my networking group tomorrow. And yeah, I'm just kind of like, when people say, oh yeah, we want to do that, and I'm trying to get them to commit now, but we'll do that 2024. So I need to make those boundaries and stick to them.
And that's not saying that you can't be flexible in your boundaries if somebody needs like an extra 24 hours or something. But as far as like, you know, a campaign that you're going to be running in January and an offer you're going to be making to your networking group, you need to be able to, you know, book a call with them for the next like 48 hours in the moment, right? Like, either get their card and open up your calendar immediately and be like, look, I've got a 1:30 or a 3:30 available tomorrow, which works best for you. Right. And whatever any offer is, there always has to be a time boundary on it. Otherwise it's, I'll get to it after. I'll do this when. Right. So you want to just make it really exciting, super irresistible, and like, let's have a conversation about it, because you're not asking them to commit to you and hand you $1,000 at a networking event.
No.
Right? You want a commitment for a phone call.
That makes so much more sense in my head. Thank you.
Yeah, networking can be so tricky sometimes, especially when we're introverts or we don't really know what our customer flow is. Like, maybe we just really love shooting and we want, customers just chasing us down the street. And that can be true for you. But at the same time, you have to have your process in place and own it. Somebody posted in the chat, why is picking up the phone so difficult? Because you don't own your process. You don't own what you do and the impact that you make.
From the personal branding session that we did, I'm able to speak more from the heart to people that I meet and how much they really do need this, and all the fear, all the holy cow, these are amazing, all the things.
Well, and that's a really great point that you brought up too, is now you're starting to appreciate how much people need this because of the impact it's had on your life. Understanding what those impacts are, and in Foundation to Freedom specifically, there's a module around designing your process. And that process needs to be understood, not just I have this meeting or I send this email, this is the time frame. It also has the impact that it has for you and your business, as well as the impact it has for the client. What are the byproducts of every single step that you take in your business? And it sounds super overwhelming, right? And you're like, that sounds like a spreadsheet. Somebody just stab me in the eyeballs right now, right? But it can be as simple as, like send email, right? And this email is about XYZ. Right. But it's also understanding like the impact that has in the moment for your customer. Right. And then, and all of those little transformations that they experience with you, all of those, it compounds like interest. Right. And then gives you a full impact when they're in the session with you, when you deliver their artwork. And then they start taking that transformation that they have experienced with you, the confidence and the appreciation and the love they have for themselves. And that causes them to behave differently in their lives, to model those things for their children and their communities in different ways that would not have happened without you. So when you start thinking about the impact that you have to know what is it costing every single person you could be working with to not have an experience with you? What happens to them in their lives if they never find you?
Yeah.
And that will change your marketing messaging. That will change your enthusiasm. That will change your capacity to pick up the phone and call them.
Thank you.
Of course. Of course. Lisa, where can people find you online?
Oh, Lisa Advent Photography on Instagram and on Facebook.
Jamie, are you available to have a conversation?
Man, how many times am I going to need you to talk me through this?
Well, that's why I'm here, babe. That's why I'm here.
I was thinking about offering $1,000 gift voucher. I right now I have no bookings at all happening. And, well, gosh, I could go on and on. But so I wanted to reach out and offer a gift voucher. Well, my prices are at 15 for 5, 25 for 10, 35 for 20. So I'm thinking if I offer a $1,000 gift voucher and they get the smallest package, man, I'm not really making any money, am I? I'm making like $150, right? Which isn't enough to pay my hair and makeup artist. I know the idea isn't to sell them the lowest package, but even if I offered 1,000 at 3,500, it's still $700 for 20 images. And I just feel like I would just resent.
You would. You absolutely would. How much is one image with you?
It's $300.
And how much is a session with you?
Well, I kind of switched it up to a $1,500 retainer, and all of that money would go toward a package, right?
Okay.
So they pay $1,500 up front, and then that $1,500 goes towards a package. But then my last 3 clients only bought the $1,500 package. So I think maybe I messed that up.
So what
I don't know if that's questions or statements.
Well, no, but I get it. So what I would actually do in that position is a $1,500 retainer, $1,000 of which is applied toward your purchase. Whether you purchase 5 images or 100, it's completely up to you. Because then it makes sense. Right now you've got a $500 session fee, but you're asking for a commitment of $1,500 up front. Right? And they can apply that $1,000 toward your bottom collection. Right? So that then increases your average sale to your baseline is 2,000 is really what it boils down to. Right? So if they only take that bottom collection, there's still another 500 at the image selection appointment. lottie-dottie, we like to party, go on about your day. But, with a gift voucher specifically, I wouldn't make it $1,000, right? You could make it $800, right? And then apply that toward their purchase, right? But now 500 of that would go toward the session fee. So really they have $300 from that $800 to apply toward a package with you. And I know, like, in a lot of instances, you absolutely could say, you know what, my $500 session fee, I want to apply 100%, right? Which you can choose to do, right? So that they can walk away with something that lowers their risk even more so, right? And that's fine. $800, you can apply that 100% toward whatever it is you'd like to purchase. My collections start at $1,500 and go up from there based on quantity. Most of my clients get on this top collection. This is my package of 20 because that's where they find the most savings per image. That's where they're going to find the value in working with me.
Okay, well, great. I think I can do that. Now I just have to get on the phone and call everybody.
Before I let you go, Jamie, where can people find you? Who are you?
I am Jamie Kohler Portrait on Instagram, and that's Jaine, spelled Jaime. My mother did that. And then Facebook is Jamie Kohler Photography.
Amanda has another question.
Real quick, just to go off of the previous question, because that was part of one of the questions I had. So I'm at 1,200 for 6 images, and then I feel like I almost need to just like up it, because even if they bought my lowest package and included the $400 voucher, then I'd only get $800, and after all the expenses, then I'm like, I still made nothing. So I guess we just keep upping prices until it works, like until all the math works out.
So reverse engineer your math. How much do you need to make?
I need 2,000 to 4,000 average.
Nope, per year. If you consider what the cost of doing business is going to be about 30% of being in business, right? So whatever it is that you make, right, 33% is going to stay in the business. When you make a break-even point, right, and list out all of your overhead every single month that you have to meet, right? Studio rent, subscriptions, continuing education, so on and so forth. And you say, oh my God, I have to at least earn $3,000. Oh my God. And that's before a salary. Okay, I know I have to make at least $3,000 a month. Like bare minimum. That's before you get paid a dime. And say, okay, how many sessions can you do in a month? And that's not, well, I have 5 free days every single month, right? It's, I want to work on shooting days, right? Those are these X number of sessions a month. Now you're going to divide that overhead number by the number of days you have available to shoot. That needs to be the bare minimum of what you charge for a session fee. In fact, I would recommend that you at least double it, because not every month, every single shoot day is going to be filled, right? Because what that does is now that allows you to take the pressure off. You're like, oh, I know I needed to make $650 for every single client. Well, if $650 is my session fee, everything else is just icing. I just need 4 or 5 of those a month and my bases are covered. But when you start looking at gift voucher clients, and in those gift voucher clients, they're typically what's called a loss leader, right? So you're responsible for those hair and makeup charges and the studio rent and all of the things. And you're banking on your work wowing them and the experience wowing them so that they can purchase more from you once they've had an opportunity to experience working with you. Well, if your bottom package is $1,200, you just gave them a $400 gift voucher, and $400 of that spend stays in the business. Oh, well, there's no money left for you. So you actually have to reverse engineer how much you want to make and make that your average sale target. So if you know that you need to make $2,500 for every single client, if you actually filled out every single availability that you have, well, now that becomes the target for your average sale. That's your middle package.
Okay. Because I have it where it's like currently works out as long as I don't do vouchers, but I'm doing the vouchers to get the people in. So then I was just like, I don't know what to do because now I'm still not making anything if they do.
So if you're going to,
Like,
that's
even
the whole
though-
purpose with vouchers. It allows you to be generous, but your pricing has to be set up to allow you the space to be generous. Right. And that can be tough when you're building a portfolio or trying to hone your craft. Because maybe your work is not at a professional standard. If your work is not at a professional standard, you have to continue folio building and really getting that standard ready, right? But you're in business, then that means you have to be priced in such a way that allows you to make those offers. So if that offer, say, in your session fee, I guess is $400, right? And then you're applying that toward whatever they purchase. Well, guess what? Now that bottom package is $2,000. Middle package is $3,000. Top package is $4,000, $5, $10, $20. Oh, now I can give somebody $400, $500, and I can still meet my targets.
Okay. And then, because I was having a problem with the gifting too, because now I'm realizing like, oh my gosh, I'm not charging enough to be able to be generous in the thing. So now I'm like, am I losing to try and get? And what is... Like, am I actually better off losing $1,000 or something? Like, because it costs me so much more, or?
Well, it's a matter of you make it up in volume, right? Because the idea is not like just simply one voucher client, right? It's a law of averages. So like when we run vouchers, and by the way, Amanda and I actually live in the same town. But so when we run vouchers, it's not, hey, I've got this voucher. You invited me to the studio. Oh, do you have anything next Wednesday? Or do you have anything 3 months from now? This is only available to be taken advantage of on this date or this date. Those are dates that I determine, not them. Because this is an offer I'm making to them. That means it's going to be made on my terms. And if they can't make either of those dates work, I'd be happy to apply the value of that gift voucher cut in half on another date in the future. But I'm going to stack 3 or 4 people in on a voucher day.
How, that was one of my questions too. How are you doing multiple people in a day? Like what is the timeline for your sessions?
For mine specifically, they'll come in. It's usually an hour to an hour and a half in hair and makeup. And then I will work with them for anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes. If we're getting carried away, maybe an hour.
Okay. Yeah, because I'm shooting for anywhere between like an hour and 3 hours. And then hair and makeup's taking 2 hours.
Not necessary. Get your makeup artist moving faster and determine what you're going to be shooting before you shoot, right? So it's not, let's try every single pose under the sun until something works. It's, let's do a seated pose. Let's do a standing pose. Next outfit. Let's do a wall pose. Let's do a floor pose. Okay, great. Next outfit, right? Your goal is to create variety, not to give them the same thing, cookie cut, 7 ways to Sunday over and over again. It's, there are wall poses, there are freestanding poses, there are seated poses, there are floor poses, there are lying down poses. Pick 2 per outfit, move on.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Lorraine, how can I help?
Well, I really need to get organized. So, I'm always planning, I need to do this, I need to do that, I need to do this, I need to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just wondering, what's your advice for where to start honing in? Like, my processes aren't in place, my systems aren't in place. I need to finish Shine. So sorry.
So you prioritize, from the floor up.
Okay.
Right. So if your systems aren't in place, then I'd probably start there. But if you've got a paying client standing in front of you, it's, I'm going to prioritize that paying client standing in front of me, which is going to make you do a deep dive on putting those systems in place immediately. Right.
Yeah.
But I would start by making a list of all of that to-do list that you can't seem to wrap your hands around, right? And that can be like, okay, this is business, this is personal, this is private relationships, right? But where is it that you're missing the mark? It's not I need to finish Shine. It's I want to prioritize my marketing now. So I'm going to go back and make sure that I calendar into my day 30 minutes every single day to catch up on Shine, to watch the videos, and another 30 minutes for homework every day.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And then prioritizing based on what it's doing for you.
Yeah.
Right. So if systems are a big part of that for you, then, sit down and make it fun. Right. We think about systems and we're all like, no, but systems are your friend. Because systems allow you to be in flow and create with abandon instead of, oh, did I send that email? And did this other thing happen? And, what can I automate? What can I outsource? And, oh, this means I get to shoot today.
The shooting is great. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have to have the systems in place to support you doing that. Otherwise, it's going to be a whole lot of you doing. And those, I talk a lot about, I think it was Brene Brown, glass balls and rubber balls. So as human beings, right, not just business owners, but as human beings, we have to keep all these balls in the air, right? And some of those balls are glass. So if you drop them and they hit the floor, like, oh my God, we're all going to die, right? But if the rubber one falls, it's like, man, I really wanted to keep that in the air, but it bounces back up and you can catch it and start over again. The way to prioritize it is keep the glass balls in the air. And if a rubber ball falls, it falls, right? So a rubber ball might be, I don't know, a confirmation email, right? Oh, I forgot to send that email. Your customer's still coming. But now you've created an opportunity where maybe they forgot, right? Okay, I'm going to make sure that email goes out now, right? But if you drop the glass ball, right? Maybe the glass ball is you didn't pay the power bill. Well, now I don't have any power in my studio for when I go in tomorrow. And that means I don't know when it's going to get turned back on. Hopefully it's in time before my customer shows up. Right? So you have to determine what's a rubber ball and what's a glass ball. And then your focus, the priority, the number one priority is always keep those glass balls in the air and then start prioritizing those rubber balls. Like, okay, what can I do to support my keeping these rubber balls in the air? Okay, Amanda, you said that you had another question.
Yes. So a lot of people come through like inquiries. Mm-hmm. No one goes to my website and fills out the contact form, which is set up to do the email and pick a time. So everybody will ask like a general question. And then, so I just answer the one question, but then at what point in the questions do you stop and just say, hey, we need to talk? Like, let's get on the phone.
So like people are just kind of DMing you in different spaces and like I always answer the question that they sent me, like always, in whatever platform that they're sending it on, whether that's Instagram, Facebook, whatever. And then the follow-up, because there's every question when it's not in person is always going to present other problems or more questions, every single one. Mm-hmm. So that response is, look, I would love to, do this via text. This is going to be a lot easier if we get on a phone call. I have this time and this time available on your next available talk time. Which works best for you? Send me a good number and I'll give you a call. People learn in different ways. Some people are visual, some people are hands-on, some people are audio learners, some people are kinesthetic. If I'm not bothered by the conversation, I'll have it over text. Right. But if I've got something else going on, like, look, I'm not really in a place to answer this right now, or look, I could answer this, but I think it's going to present you with more questions than solutions. This would be a lot easier to have a conversation. When's a good time for us to chat? I have this time or this time.
Okay, perfect. Yeah. Because I was spending like all of Sunday answering questions. I was like, we really just need to get on. And then by the time we got on the phone and I was doing the consult, I was like, okay, so we already like went through this a little bit, but I'll rehash it. And then
set the boundary.
Like, oh, this feels like a mess.
Set the boundary. I used to do full design consultations as soon as humanly possible because it does deliver a lot of value. Because people are like, oh, this is definitely much different than when I work with other photographers. And then I started to find that I would be doing these like hour-long conversations with people, and then they would just ghost me. And I was like, what is happening? And I realized like, oh, I designed their whole session, gave them a bunch of ideas, told them how to prepare, and then they went to somewhere else. Okay, so we're not going to do that anymore. Now there's an intake conversation. This is what we cover. And then when they ask different questions like, oh, well, I really love this kind of thing, right? Or I really want this kind of artwork, or how do I prepare for this? That will all be covered during your design consult. Let's go ahead and set a date for that, actually. So if we're doing your photo shoot on the 20th, then we need to have your design consultation no later than the 8th. I have this time and this time available for you on these dates.
Okay. That's another thing too. I keep feeling like I need to somewhat design it to get them excited.
Yes, but do it in a vague kind of way, right? When I have somebody that I know is like excited about the tailoring aspect of it, and we'll actually go through this in Shine when we start talking about the archetypes, right? Because they're all like, if I had to bet, you will have some celebrity in you, or some maverick, because it's the tailoring experience that gets you really excited. But you have to understand who it is that you want to have in your studio and why they value the parts of your process that you're in love with. And if that is for you tailoring, then speaking to people who want that tailoring is, oh my God, that's so exciting. I can't wait to start sketching this session. But we're going to go through, and on your design consult is really where I get to understand your vision in a really comprehensive way. We have a whole process through the consultation that we're going to do with you. We're going to hop on a Zoom call, and I'm going to answer every possible question you could have. But more importantly, I'm going to teach you how to prepare. And you, through that question process, you are going to share with me your vision so that I can tailor that to you specifically. There is no cookie cutting going on here.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah. Awesome. We have some new people joining us. Mim, Donna Maria.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Lisa. Thank you for sending the invite out.
Absolutely. I'm so glad you're here. Do you have anything going on in your business right now where you might need some support?
I was listening to everybody. They have some great problems and great solutions to these problems. I think the biggest thing I'm finding now is there's a glitch in my process. Mm-hmm. I went back to Honeybook, and I sent an invoice to a lady. It has since been rectified, but when I set it up so that she got the invoice the day after she got paid. Mm-hmm. That was the deal. And she never got it. It never was sent. So I have to delve into that. I since rectified it, but I thought, why was that not sent on the day? So it's just little glitches like that, because as you said, if your foundation isn't set, you're going to backtrack and try to figure out what's going on. But other than that, things are good. I'm getting
I love
high school seniors. I just love the senior that I just did. It was so fun. And then I did a headshot from my women's networking group. I don't have anything coming up between now and the holidays, so I'm getting ready for the new year and going to push headshots because all the women in my business already said they want new headshots. So
that's great.
Yep. And I gave them all a $300 gift card towards an image.
Toward an image with a
my images are
on when they can book. But, Mim, I actually want to circle back to your original point about a glitch in your system. And we'll go over this in the studio mentoring program, because in January we have my intensive courses, Foundation to Freedom and Shine, being released to the mentees. But one of the things that I do teach on is keeping credit cards on file from your customers, because especially like not just for payment plans, but upfront. And that sort of reduces any rescheduling and cancellation. But when somebody says, look, I really want to do this, but I need to wait until this payday, you don't have to worry about sending her an invoice and then chasing her down for it. You just make a note on your calendar to process her payment on said day.
Right. And I didn't have her payment stuff.
Yeah.
Because she won this. She won the shoot.
Awesome.
I can't believe it's been a year since I mentored with you. How far I have come in that year is amazing.
That's so exciting.
Amazing. Yeah. Thank you
awesome.
so much.
I love it. And I love that you're here. And I love to see that you're thriving with branding and with seniors. I know how much you love to work with teenagers with your background in teaching too. So I'm so glad you're here.
I have a question. Oh,
sure, Lisa, go ahead.
When you're holding the credit card, and I've been getting the credit card, but then it makes me nervous. But before I apply the payment, I send them "Are you ready?" I mean, is that what you do? I'll say, I'm about to charge your card for this amount. Are you good with that? Or do I just go ahead and charge?
So you could set up an automatic email to go out. If we have people on payment plans, we charge either on the 1st or the 15th of the month, versus like, oh, I want to set it up for the 10th or this on the 23rd. Like that becomes way too much to deal with on an administrative level. So I let people choose, like, would you prefer us to process this on the 1st or the 15th? Right. And from there, you could send out, an email that goes out to this segment of people that reminds them about their payment that's coming up in 48 hours. Right. Okay. So just a quick reminder to let you know that your payment of whatever it is per month will be charged with the card on file ending in blah, blah, blah on such and such date. Thank you so much for your business. Your new balance is.
Okay. That's easy. Thank you.
Sure. Amanda has one more question.
I'm full of questions today.
I love it.
But I want to keep elevating the whole experience. So I would love to help install the wall art. How do you go about that?
I do not do that.
No. Okay.
No, but depending on where you're getting your artwork from, what I would probably do is reach out. Are you getting your artwork locally made, or is it?
I'm getting it from Guild. So the canvases, so it's coming in.
Okay. So I would find, God, who would do that? A framing company is not going to give you a referral unless you're using their service. A handyman of some sort, maybe an interior designer you could partner with to refer your people to. And an interior designer would be a great partnership to build as well, or a decorator, because if you're doing in-home image selection or artwork design, having that person there with you could really increase the wall art sales that you do. And then they could refer somebody. But I don't know what a payment structure would look like for a partnership like that. I would probably look at it as more of a referral piece. Maybe that partnership comes like, I'm happy to refer all of my wall art people to you if you can help me design some, like a traditional, a modern, and contemporary, or an old world options, right? And with visuals in place where you would go and photograph those collections on those walls in their customers' homes. Sound just like off the top of my head. But I would probably start there as far as like, hey, who do you call for referrals on wall art installation? And then kind of take that conversation from there.
Okay. Yeah, because I've seen some people just do that themselves, but then my husband installs like high-end appliances and he's like, he said there are too many liabilities and things that come in with like people's walls and if you did the hole wrong or something. So
does your husband own his own business?
No, but he kind of ran the install, like appliance installs for.
Oh, I was just going to say you could partner with him.
No.
If he owned his own business, because once you start getting into that, and he's right, like then you have to really talk it over with your insurance provider to see if they would cover you for something like that. And look at what the liabilities are. I would much rather partner with somebody who specializes in that and then refer my people to them.
Okay. And then branding and packaging. I saw you have the bags. So are those strong enough to like hold the reveal boxes, or how are you like handing off the reveal boxes?
Oh, the reveal boxes? Yeah. No, they go into the Tyndall bags that are branded with the logo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Guys, thank you so much for being here with me today. I appreciate having you here, and I hope you've gotten some value out of our conversation today. Appreciate your journey. Appreciate where you are today and where you're going. Like Mim was saying, she mentored with me a year ago, and she's looking back at her year and realizing just how far she's come since our work together. And that comes when you put the systems in place in the beginning. It feels like it's just business all the time. It's just business all the time. I just want to shoot. And then you realize how supportive those systems are of you doing what you love to do and gives you more freedom to do that. If I can be in support of you, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can find us on the studiotakeover.online and please make sure to follow us on YouTube and your favorite podcasting platform. Thanks so much. Have a great day.